Hi, welcome to our very first video of the school year. We are starting on the 5 themes of geography. You'll need your foldable. Looks like this. You made it in class the other day. You made it in class today. And you'll be working on just the top tab. You don't have any of this filled out, and that's okay. But when you open the very top one, you'll have a blank sheet. Now at the bottom of that tab, so just this spot is where you're filling, you'll write location. Where is it? Just like right here, okay? Above that, you need to have absolute location. Is the exact spot on Earth where something is found. You need to have absolute, and you need to have that definition, because that is what absolute location is. Okay? And then you need to have relative underneath of that, or relative location, and that's the position of a place in relation to other places. I know that you can't write as fast as I can talk, so if you need time to write, just hit pause and pause it, and you'll be good to go, and then play when you're done writing. Okay? Relative location is used if you were describing where your house is and you say, oh, it's just across from Dollar General. Well, you're telling me where it is in relation to something else. And that works, and that's called relative location. Now, absolute location is when you give me a specific address and you tell me, this is my address. And I know that that is a very specific location on a map, and I can find it. Okay? The parts in green you do not need to have on your foldable, but if you would like them to help you remember what absolute and relative location are, then write them down. Okay? So, about absolute location. If I was to take a ping pong ball and draw just one dot on it, right there would be no exact location. There would be no way for you to describe to me where that spot is that actually specifies, well, of course, that's where it is. If you turn it, then it's somewhere else. There's no specific place. Now, geographers discovered that same problem about the world. We had relative location. You could say, well, you're next to this river or close to that mountain range. But they wanted something more specific, so they made this grid of imaginary lines of latitude, which are the blue ones, and longitude, the green ones. Now you can see the difference. If I labeled these lines, I could tell you exactly where that spot is, instead of this one where there's no specific place where it is. Now, by the way, you don't need to be writing any of this down unless you would like to help you remember. It's completely up to you, but the only part I needed you to write down was the part at the beginning on your foldable. You need to have your entire location tab filled out. Latitude, they're the lines that lay flat. Okay, they lay horizontally. When you're laying down, this is the way you're facing. Okay? So latitude, they're the lines that are laying down. And you can remember that by thinking latitude starts with L-A, lay. Lay, latitude. Easy to remember. They're measured in degrees, as you see here. So this is 66.5 degrees, 23.5 degrees. Point is really hard to see. And they are not all the same length. The longest line of latitude is around the equator, and that's because it's right around the very middle of the Earth. As you go up, as you go north, the lines get smaller. This is not a perfect circle, by the way, but if it was a perfect globe, then you'd be able to see that this line is definitely shorter than this line, and this one's even shorter still. Because as you go north or south from the equator, the areas that you have to cover get smaller. Okay? These are the 5 most important lines of latitude. Obviously, the equator is right in the middle. is what we call 0 degrees latitude. And then if we go north, we have the Tropic of Cancer, which is at 23.5 degrees north, so 23.5 degrees north. Then if we keep going north, we come to the Arctic Circle, which is at 66.5 degrees north. Okay? If we go south, we have the Tropic of Capricorn, which is at 23.5 degrees. Same number, but this is 23.5 degrees south. And then if we go farther south still, we come to the Antarctic Circle, which is at 66.5 degrees south. Okay? Whenever you're using latitude to find a location on a map, you always start at the equator. Okay? If I tell you to find 66.5 degrees north, go straight to the equator and then count 66.5 degrees north. If I ask you to find 23.5 degrees south, you go straight to the equator and then count 23.5 degrees south. If you start up here and then count 23.5 degrees, it won't be right. You always start at the equator. The degrees in latitude tell us how far north or south we are from the equator. Okay? Now, longitude runs north to south, and you can remember longitude because the lines are very long. They're all the same and they're all very long. The Empire State Building is a long way from the ground to the top, and the Empire State Building stands up. Okay, so these lines go up and down like the Empire State Building, and they're long like the Empire State Building. That's called vertically. When it's up and down, they run north to south. These are also measured in degrees, just like our lines of latitude were. These are different because they're all the same length. Lines of longitude all start and end at the north and south poles. All of them. They're all exactly the same. They just all start up here and they all end here. Okay? Lines that are lines of latitude never touch each other. These ones all touch here and all touch here. Now, since they're all the same, some geographer, a group of geographers decided that this line here would be 0 degrees. It's not because it's the longest, like the equator is. They just decided this one. This line is called the prime meridian. Now, when you do a 180, you turn all the way around, right? So 180 degrees is on the other side of the globe, which is impossible for me to draw. But if I could, the one that's exactly opposite of this on the back, that's called the international date line. And then we have, if you go east of the prime meridian, it's over here, and west is that one. Now, when we were doing lines of latitude, our equator was our starting line, okay? Now when we're doing lines of longitude, you always start at the prime meridian. So, if I asked you to find 20 degrees east, you go straight to the prime meridian and you go east. Now our meridians tell us how far east or west we are from the prime meridian, so we have to start there. If I asked you to find 40 degrees west, go straight to that prime meridian, that 0 degrees longitude, and then go west, 40, so 20, 40. Okay, that is our lesson on absolute location for today.